For the longest time, Monster Hunter Stories 3 had flown under my radar. So when the demo dropped earlier last month, I was unsure of what kind of experience I was going to get. But after playing that demo and experiencing all that this game had to offer, I decided to try it for myself and buy the game. And I can confidently say right now, after 100%ing the game and getting the Platinum Trophy, that Monster Hunter Stories 3 is awesome. But what exactly makes this game so good? I'm going to go over it here in this video because I honestly feel like if you are a Monster Hunter fan, this game is a must play, and I'll tell you exactly why. Now, to start off, I want to talk about the story, because I know in most mainline Monster Hunter games, the story is inconsequential. It's simply a vehicle to drive you from one hunt to the next. However, here in Monster Hunter Stories 3, the story is actually really good. I wouldn't come into this game expecting something like The Last of Us or God of War 2018, but it's certainly no slouch in the narrative department. There are moments in this game where the music swells and the characters come together and things happen on screen that make you feel something inside. I think that's the greatest compliment I can give this game's narrative. It truly leaves you remembering certain moments and it makes you feel something. But a game's story is not just about its narrative, it's also about its characters. And in that department, I think that Monster Hunter Stories 3 shines incredibly brightly because the cast of characters in this game are incredibly fun to interact with. To highlight this, you need look no farther than the Rangers. This is a cast of characters who move alongside you and join you throughout the entirety of your journey, and they are all incredibly weird. Each ranger is incredibly expressive and have their own unique likes and dislikes, as well as their own unique methods of fighting that make you actually take into account who you want to bring into a given battle. They bring alongside them an infectious energy that makes you feel as though they care for you and definitely makes you care for them. But of course, this is still a Monster Hunter game, so the one thing we're all really here for is the combat, and I am glad to say that the combat in Monster Hunter Stories 3 is one of the best turn-based combat systems I've experienced in any game, point blank, period. And there are two things that I think they've done here that really create an amazing combat system. The first of which is maintaining the Monster Hunter feel. Every single time you are playing Monster Hunter Stories 3, it feels like you're just playing a Monster Hunter game that so happens to be turn-based. All the mechanics that you know and love from the mainline Monster Hunter games are still here in some way, shape, or form, so the combat becomes incredibly intuitive because you are still trying to go for the same things. You still have your normal Monster Hunter features like building armor and weapons from the various monster parts of slain monsters. You're still going for part breaks and tail cuts and KOs, which will knock down the monster to give you an opportunity to do massive damage. The rock, paper, scissors clash mechanic still incentivizes you to memorize monster attack patterns and how those attack patterns change from their base state to when they are enraged. These clashes can create an opportunity for you to deal massive damage, but equally so, if you get it wrong, they can also lead to massive damage being dealt against you, and the only difference is how much you pay attention to the monster moveset and how much you are willing to apply that knowledge to your gameplay. But mechanics alone do not maintain the feeling. The art design team as well as the sound effects team have done a phenomenal job of really maintaining the Monster Hunter feeling of hitting a monster with a weapon. When you land a big hit with a hammer or a greatsword, the monster will still visibly recoil. There's still hit stop on these attacks that, even though they aren't happening in real time, maintain that illusion of smacking a monster with an oversized weapon. So even in turn-based format, you still feel like you are a mainline Monster Hunter character. However, this isn't a Monster Hunter game, this is a Monster Hunter Stories game, which means the second part of the combat that makes it feel so good, of course, is the monsters, and boy do they have so many mechanics attached to the monsters. The gameplay loop of going around, finding monster eggs, hatching different monsters, raising the level of those monsters in a certain environment, bringing those monsters to a new environment so they get different typings, taking the genes from those monsters who got different typings and giving those genes to a completely different monster so they can use new and cool abilities, and splicing it all together to make one super hybrid awesome monster which you can then see perform all of those attacks in real combat. It's borderline addicting. Anybody that's played enough mainline Monster Hunter will tell you that eventually it stops being Monster Hunter and starts becoming Menu Hunter from the sheer amount of time you will spend in menus, theory crafting and build crafting. It almost eclipses your time actually in hunts. And if you like that aspect of Monster Hunter Stories 3 is literally a wet dream for you. There are so many different build crafting mechanics in this game that you can just sink dozens of hours into. It makes for a very fun RPG, and it makes for an even better build crafting experience. Now, as I was recording this video earlier, I did have one complaint about the combat, and that was that once you reach the maximum level, there is nothing really that can challenge you. There's no super bosses, there's no end game, there's no anything to really push you to the limit. And right before I was about to post this video, Ryuzo Sugimoto came out and made a video saying that they will be adding really hard endgame challenges called Royal Monsters to the game in a free title update this summer. So the one complaint that I had is already getting fixed. But aside from that, the main thing that I think makes this game so great is not its individual components, but more so how those components come together to create a world that I want to exist in. When you take a beautiful world like this with beautiful art direction and you make it fun to explore, and then you give us the tools to ride different monsters in order to explore it in a fun way. And then you make the combat when you interact with other monsters fun, so you want to go out of your way to fight and engage in that combat. And then you surround yourself with characters who are fun to engage with and a storyline that's fun to chase after. You end up with an incredibly enjoyable experience. Now, I know this game came out around some other heavy hitters. You have Crimson Desert and Pokemon Pokopia, as well as a little bit earlier Resident Evil 9, so you might not want to get this game right now. But at the very least, I encourage you to try the demo. They give you full access to the first area of the game. You get a bunch of different monsters to try out, a bunch of different combat mechanics to try out. It's a very well-made demo. And that's pretty much it for the video. I think Capcom have been on a pretty good roll recently. They're 2 for 2 in my opinion with Resident Evil 9 and now Monster Hunter Stories 3. And I'm very excited to see what they do with Pragmata next month because that game is definitely on my radar. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye bye!